My name is Rick Parker. I'm Executive Director of the Athens Housing Authority, and I've lived in Athens just barely over 23 years now.
I have been in this community since I was 25 years old.
I live in Athens for 39 years.
And I've been here since 1985.
I've lived in Athens for approximately 22 years. I've lived in Jack R. Wells for 7.5 years.
I've lived in Athens 32 years.
I was born and raised in Athens.
I've lived in Athens for 3 years.
I'm a native Athenian.
I've lived in Athens since July of 2011.
I lived in Athens 22 years, and I'm a resident of the Jack R. Wells community about 7.5 years.
The Jack R. Wells redevelopment project is the right project in the right place at the right time for an affordable Athens.
We've been working for a long time envisioning what we think Athens, Georgia should become. Partners for a Prosperous Athens and One Athens was such an event. A need for addressing pervasive poverty in our community drove us to look at system-wide solutions and to form partnerships and collaborations that hadn't ever existed before. What we're proposing to do with Jack R. Wells is an affordable housing solution that's radically different than what you see in some communities. We're not reducing the number of public housing units. Instead, we're adding to. It's an additive rather than subtractive solution. We're hoping to add mixed income and other affordable housing to our public housing neighborhood to create Athens' first truly mixed income neighborhood.
Partners for a Prosperous Athens is a direct link to my obligation to bring the resources of the university to bear on the most significant problems in the community. As we began looking around and as some of our staff and faculty began participating in studies around the Southeast, but particularly in Georgia, we recognized that our poverty rate in Athens-Clarke County at that time, 28%, a little bit higher now, we recognized that that had to be one of our most pressing issues.
We went to the people at the very beginning to find out what their priorities and interests were for addressing poverty. They chose the committee structure that we used, one of which was affordable housing.
We began to have conversations with community leaders and others. The mayor certainly got engaged and involved and took it on as her project.
Well, I've actually served on an affordable housing committee that grew out of One Athens. Affordable housing is something that I and all the commissioners in Athens-Clarke County are very committed to and have been for years.
With PPA, certainly we recognized as affordable housing was a key issue here early on. And the leadership of Rick Parker especially, but also others that were part of that team were critical in our final suggestions and recommendations.
I am so excited about the possibility of the redevelopment of the Jack R. Wells property. We've recently identified that as one of our redevelopment zones, and it's an opportunity zone with the new Medical College of Georgia right on Prince Avenue and Athens Regional Hospital on Prince Avenue and St. Mary's Hospital on Baxter. I've started referring to Hawthorne Avenue as our medical corridor because that's the direct link between our two major medical centers. Other than Caterpillar, this is the most excited I've been about any project in Athens in many years.
It's not only good for the community and the people there in the community, but it's also good for our city. You know, it's good for our city.
Other than Caterpillar, this is the most excited I've been about any project in Athens in many years. And I have a little bit of a personal bias because I live within walking distance of Jack R. Wells, where I've lived for 47 years and where my children grew up.
And again, its core is the people led that initiative. In candor, Jack R. Wells is a project that needs a new face and a new future than what it's had. And its physical location on Hawthorne is an asset not only to the Caterpillar plant, but also an asset to the Health Sciences Center. Initiatives of this kind can become an anchor or a stimulus for the development of Hawthorne or redevelopment of Hawthorne.
The most exciting opportunities our community has, as well as the University of Georgia, is the partnership that we have with the Georgia Health Sciences University, the Medical College in Augusta. The university has been able to acquire 58 acres And on that property, that 58 acres, we're creating a health sciences campus, moving our College of Public Health and expanding it out to that campus. And there'll be other related programs addressing health for the state of Georgia that will be there. Combining our two greatest opportunities and strengths, healthcare and education, on that piece of property and that location can be magical here. The Caterpillar is a major event for this community. I wish I could tell you that there's another one out there. I think it's almost a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and we're excited about it.
To achieve our goals, we've been collaborating with community organizations for many years, and not just one or two, but literally across the entire spectrum. For example, the University of Georgia, a tremendous community asset, has helped enormously in our preliminary plans for the transformation of the Jack R. Wells community. We put together 5 teams of master social work student and a resident together to go out and do face-to-face, detailed, in-depth interviews to make sure we were headed in the right direction.
Some of the resident volunteers went door to door to ask the resident personally how do they feel and what changes did they want in the community.
One of the most successful partnerships and collaborations that we've had is with the Athens-Clarke County Police Department.
And the Athens-Clarke County Police Department collaboration with the Athens Housing Authority really goes back to the 1970s. I was a young lieutenant and had an opportunity to write a grant, federal grant, to acquire 3 officers to assign those officers to the Housing Authority properties. And we did that, and it was over a 1-year grant, as I recall. And after that, the citizens and residents of the different neighborhoods of the Housing Authority, as well as contiguous property owners, appeared before the Mayor and Commission and demanded that they retain those officers. And we had significant data that showed that I think we had reduced the crime in those areas around 70%.
At one point in time, we even had our own police radios and call signs. And I don't know of any place else in America that that's been done very often. We meet on a monthly basis with a team of officers that's specifically assigned and that we help support a pay differential for them for working in our neighborhoods. As a result, the Athens Housing Authority's communities have crime rates that are significantly lower than the community as a whole. Those are not our statistics. Those come directly from police department statistics, and I'm sure the police chief himself would share that information with you.
We do have to make sure our residents have community services out there and continuity of care clinics, and there is the potential to work with this wonderful venture to provide those services at that unique setting. It's been exciting to me to hear about maybe there's this vision to actually have healthcare facilities on site, and immediately thought about how we may be able to become a partner with that, the Wells Center, to try to envision providing that healthcare services on that site. Anytime we as a community healthcare provider and system can be out in the community trying to improve the health of our communities irrespective of the socioeconomic status, it's something that's inbred in our mission.
The Housing Authority has been a very intricate part of our conversation as we look at educating our children. So Rick and I have had conversations over the last 3 years since my arrival about how do we create sustainable, stable homes. Our community is diverse, and it's our strength if we want it to be. And that's why I was extremely pleased when we were talking about restructuring some of our neighborhoods. This concept with the Jack R. Wells and what that was happening, it really brought to light and brought forth some of the vision that we had for our community schools. So it was so in line with what we think we need to do in our school and our district that I just said, what can we do to make this happen? We wanted to make sure that our kids were safe and that our kids' educational learning environment wasn't disrupted. So we talked about keeping them in our same schools. What schools will that be? If they had to move to a different section of town, how will that impact them? How could we minimize their impact in schools? Because those are big changes for kids.
One of the things that stands out to me is that the relationship between the Housing Authority and Clarke County and the school district. And one major project is the $20.5 million Edwards facility that's presently there now.
We're really pleased at this point. We have built something called the H.T. Edwards Educational Complex. Thanks to the Housing Authority, we received some dollars where we actually built a complex that has an early learning center, a non-traditional internet high school, a boys and girls club that's on site, as well as a new career academy that we're now offering college courses where kids can go to college starting in 11th grade.
Well, to get that kind of facility done, you had people from all income, rich people, poor people, middle income people, working together to have a facility like that. And that's the key to me about Athens in general.
That when people work together, good things happen.
We have collaborative relationships all across the board, but perhaps the most rewarding has been the collaborative relationship with our residents. In the spirit of full collaboration, we involve them in the selection of our development partner. And we asked the Resident Association to appoint a couple of members to the selection team.
I was chosen, one of the lucky ones, to come here and meet with the different teams. We narrowed it down to the 2 that we wanted.
Every time something happened, they call a meeting and inform us on what's going on and get the input of the resident on how we feel.
We've involved our residents on every step of the way, and each time I'm amazed at the spirit and attitude of our residents.
The resident, I think we almost have like a 90% of show up coming to the meeting.
Give Rick Parker and my property manager, Dana Davenport, a pat on the head. They make sure that we get our meetings. We know the places, the dates, the times.
The only way that the resident feel comfortable is knowing that management is right there working with us, informing us on everything, not just a little, everything that's going on.
They told us when that we would be able to meet with the charrette team, which we met up at the church, Mount Pleasant Baptist Church, and we all got a chance to meet the team.
Housing Authority, they have been instrumental in coming there, having a lot of community meetings, which will let them use the church.
I was also involved in taking the trip with my property manager, Dana Davenport, and Mr. Rick Parker to Atlanta.
We put together an even larger group of residents to visit the top 2 candidates' properties in person, because we didn't want to take their word for what they were capable of doing. We all wanted to see what the developers were capable of doing.
It was kind of easy to do because I think they really laid out to us more of what we could see.
The residents themselves unanimously selected Columbia Residential as our development partner, a decision that we as staff were happy to also unanimously support. Change is hard, change is difficult, and big change is scary and difficult, and they have embraced the change.
We're all very excited.
Oh, the resident, when we first heard about it, it was like, oh my goodness, we finna get a new Jack R. Well, from the bottom up, because it's, like I said, a great need in the community.
Been a lot of change there, and as I said, we welcome, the change. It's not a stereotype thing. Hey, when you hear the name of Jack R. Well, and people, drop their, don't want to be in that area. But what we have seen, and with the Housing Authority have presented to us, oh boy, people go through that with their head in the air, proud and living in that community, and it really a bright light in the community, and we really need that.
It's just a overwhelming experience, seeing that it's not just going to be just for Jack R. Well, it's for the whole Clarke County community, getting involved in this project. We're going to be a bigger community, a growing community, and just seeing what's going to prosper doing all of this. It's just, like I said, it's just overwhelming.
The people there in the community supported 100%. All I've seen, I've been to most all of the meetings, and all I've seen was positive comments and people just ready for this change. And I'm hoping and praying that this change will come into being quick and early.
And I think this is a classic example of changing at the speed of trust and building for the betterment of our children and our community.
There's a real spirit of partnership and camaraderie between the residents, the staff, and the development team. Everybody's excited, and that excitement is spilled out into the broader community as well.
If I had to use one word to describe what is going to be different with Jack R. Wells today versus when it's fully implemented 10 years or so from now, I would say pride. I would say the pride of the community and what we have accomplished, the pride of the people that live there, and my pride in being a part of it.
I think the people are going to take more pride. They'll take more pride in the community.
Right place, right project, right time for an affordable Athens.
This is the right place, the right project, the right time for an affordable Athens.
The right place, right project, right time for an affordable Athens.
The right place, it's the right project, and it's the right time for an affordable Athens.
This is the right place, right project, right time for an affordable Athens.
The right place, the right project, right time for an affordable Athens. Looking forward to it.
This affordable housing effort in this community reflects what can happen when people come together from all parts of segments of society, working in concert to solve a problem. And in some ways, it would do damage to that community will if this project didn't come to fruition and see reality.